Okay, chapter 13-3 is solving quadratics by completing the square. Okay, in example 1, x squared minus 8x plus, and what you want to do is find an equation, or you want to find the number that would make it like x plus something squared, or x minus something squared. So to do that, you take half of negative 8, which is negative 4, and then you square it. Okay, and what that gives you, negative 4 times negative 4 is 16. Okay, so now what if I were to factor this, 16 on top, negative 8 on the bottom, you get negative 4 times negative 4 is positive 16 and adds up to negative 8. So that means basically x squared minus 8x plus 16 is x minus 4 squared. So these are related. This is the sum, this is the product. Okay, so in example 2, x squared plus 12x plus blank. So you're going to take half of 12, which is positive 6, and then you're going to square it, which gives you 36. Okay, so now x squared plus 12x plus 36 is a perfect square, and I know that because if I factor it, 36, 12 on the bottom, I get 6 times 6 is 36 and adds up to 12. So basically this is x plus 6 times x plus 6, which is just quantity x plus 6 squared. So these are related. One is the sum, this one's the sum, this one's the product. So now this is a perfect square, meaning it's the same thing twice. Okay, in example 3 we have something that is not divisible by 2 evenly. But we're still going to take half of the middle number. So we take negative 5 and cut it in 2, that's half of it. And then you're going to square it. So that gives me negative 5 times negative 5 is positive 25, and 2 times 2 is 4, so it's 25 fourths. And if I were to factor it, I would get, basically it's just this minus 5 halves, x minus 5 halves, quantity squared. So this is the sum, and this is the product. Alright, example 4, solved by completing the square. X squared minus 4x minus 7 equals 0. What I would do first is do a diamond to see if it is factorable, because if it's factorable, of course it's going to be easier to solve. You can use zero product property. But there is no two numbers that multiply to negative 7 and add up to negative 4. So we're going to solve this by completing the square. To do that, you're going to take the negative 7 to the other side, and then it kind of becomes like yesterday's work. Well, we have to do the completing the square first. So we have x squared minus 4x equals 7. Okay, now what we're going to do is we're going to try to make x squared minus 4x a perfect square. So we're going to take half of the negative 4, which is negative 2, and then we're going to square it. So now I have x squared minus 4x plus equals 7 plus. And whatever we add to the left side, excuse me, we have to add to the right side. So to complete this square, I make it negative 2 squared is 4. If I add 4 to the left side, I have to add 4 to the right side. So now I have x squared minus 4x plus 4 equals 11. Okay, and the reason I did all that was because x squared minus 4x plus 4 is a perfect square. It's x minus 2 quantity squared equals 11, and now it becomes like yesterday. You're going to take the square root of both sides, which is just regular x minus 2 equals plus or minus the square root of 11. You're going to bring the negative 2 to the other side. X equals positive 2 plus or minus the square root of 11. You cannot simplify square root of 11, so that's the answer. Okay, example 5, of course the first thing you're going to check is to see if it's factorable. So you see if there's a greatest common factor. There isn't. It's not 2 terms, so it's 3 terms, so it's a diamond. 12 on the top, 8 on the bottom. Well, that works because there are 2 numbers that multiply to 12 and add up to 8. That's 6 and 2. So I have x plus 6 times x plus 2 equals 0. So the 2 answers that work are x equals negative 6 and x equals negative 2. Now you could also do that by completing the square, which takes a little bit longer. So here's example 5 again. We're going to do it by completing the square. Okay, we're going to move the 12 over. It becomes negative 12. So I have x squared plus 8x equals negative 12. Okay, we're going to complete the square. So we take 8, which is 4, we square it, we get 16. We're going to add the 16 to both sides. Okay, now I have x squared plus 8x plus 16 equals 4. Okay, this, if I factored it, is 4 and 4. But you should know that because it's based on this number. So it's x plus 4 quantity squared equals 4. You're going to take the square root of both sides. Okay, then you get x plus 4 equals plus or minus 2, because the square root of 4 is 2. Bring the 4 over. You get x equals negative 4 plus or minus 2. Well, the first answer is negative 4 plus 2, which is negative 2. And the second answer is negative 4 minus 2, which is negative 6. So if you notice, it ends up being the same answers as we got on the prior example. Negative 2, negative 6, negative 2, negative 6.